Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, one of the best draft formats on Arena. We do have flashback drafts of this set throughout the week, so I'm excited to hop back into the format a few times and have some fun drafting it. So without further ado, let's get into our pack 1 pick 1, which I think is going to be Invoke the Winds. These mind control style effects are always quite powerful in draft. Being able to steal your opponent's biggest creature and use it against them plays as a very powerful 2-for-1. The only thing I don't like about Invoke the Winds is it is a very restrictive mana cost, requiring 4 blue mana. But I think starting off with a pack 1 pick 1 can put you in a position where you can draft blue really highly, take a bunch of solid commons like the Modern Age, make sure blue's your main color, and get it going. This is a really strong pack. We've also got Naomi, Pillar of Order for a black-white signpost, and Spirited Companion and the Modern Age for really good commons there. So super powerful pack 1 overall. Pack 1 pick 2 now. We don't have anything great in blue. Sky Swimmer is probably the best blue card, and that's not something I like to take particularly early, even if I am starting with Invoke the Winds. Let's go for something off color here. Probably Era of Enlightenment is my favorite card in the pack. All of these flip sagas in the format, the vast majority of them play very well, where you're getting a ton of value for a really cheap mana cost. You just have to wait a little while till you get the creature from it. So for 2 mana, you're going to scry 2 and gain 2 life and get a 2/2 first strike. Really good deal for the mana cost. You just have to realize and play around the fact that you're not going to have that 2/2 until 2 turns after you cast Era of Enlightenment. But still, really good for the mana cost. My favorite card in the pack. I will take that excellent saga here. Pack 1, pick 3, we get past a pick 3 Naomi, which is a solid sign for the black and white kind of quote-unquote order or balance archetype that's about having artifacts and enchantments on board. It's a really strong archetype. It's the deck that I used personally in my best Arena Open run ever, so I am partial to that archetype. I enjoy it a lot, and Naomi's a huge reason to head in that direction. So we could take Naomi here. It's probably best, since we pick 1 pack 1 to Invoke the Winds, to take Moonsnare Specialist here, trying to stay as close and as tied to blue as possible. But I did just take an Era of Enlightenment. Taking Era into Naomi is a solid little pivot here, and I do like the black-white archetype a lot. Kind of just wish I pack 1 pick 1 to Naomi though instead. That's probably the biggest issue with taking this, is somebody to our left is likely to end up in black-white as well, which could make us not get a ton of good black and white in pack 2. But we'll see. I'm going to take Naomi here. I do like her a lot. Pick 4 is going to be a very easy Spirited Companion to go with Naomi and Era of Enlightenment. There's a definite alternate path to this draft where we take either Naomi pick 1. If we took Naomi pick 1, this draft would be going incredibly. Naomi into Era, into Naomi, into Spirited Companion. But alternatively, if we took Moonsnare Specialist last pack, then we take Moon Circuit Hacker here, and we have a real good blue start with this Invoke the Winds. But Spirited Companion, one of the best commons in the whole format, great value play, absolutely fantastic if you get into ninjutsu cards like Moon Circuit Hacker to return the Spirited Companion to your hand when you attack with it, so you can replay it and draw another card off of it. There's also some other great ways to use the Spirited Companion repeatably, and it just plays super well. But yeah, I'm not that disappointed with moving off of my Invoke the Winds here, because that's a pick 5 Okiba Reckoner raid, another incredible common. This set is absolutely juiced in terms of power level. Coming back to this set after playing some Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings has some really fun, really synergistic decks. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty has that as well, but also just has really pushed commons even. It's not just like a bunch of great uncommons and above like Lord of the Rings, so yeah, Okiba Reckoner Raid is just nasty. 1 mana to drain your opponent for 2 life and get a 2/2 menace would be absolutely insane. This does that. It just takes 2 turns to get your 2/2 menace, but that's still a ridiculously good deal. We take Reckoner Raid. If we can wheel Kami of Terrible Secrets, then we are in an incredible position to be the black-white order deck. We'll take a Chain Flail Centipede now. for a nice filler artifact. Actually, I think Ninja's Kunai is probably a little better. Centipede's fine in aggressive decks. It's got a very fun mechanic with Reconfigure, where it's an equipment creature. So you can reconfigure this and equip it to another one of your creatures to give that creature +2 every time it attacks. Cool, pretty fun mechanic. Overall though, 3 mana, 2 toughness card, doesn't give you any value when it hits the board, like no scry, no card draw like our other creatures right now. I'll just go for the Ninja's Kunai, which also works well in a Naomi deck because it can be an artifact chilling on our board. We can also use it as a removal spell when we need to, so I think I'll actually take Ninja's Kunai over that. Now we take a Kami of Terrible Secrets, another great card for the Black-White Order archetype, and this is a great draft pod in general. We're seeing lots of great stuff for Black-White and still good blue stuff with a Moonsnare Specialist this late for that potential Invoke the Winds deck, but I'm going to get locked in on that Black-White archetype, I think, getting Kami of Terrible Secrets this late. So the flavor of the set, working together with all of the mechanics of the set, is one of the things that I really love. The set has a really fun kind of modernity versus tradition thing going on, where all of the enchantment cards are about like the history of Kamigawa and the religion, the spirits and everything, whereas all the artifacts are like that's like the Neon Dynasty stuff, the new hotness, the new technology. So I think it's just a really, really cool format in terms of mixing the flavor with the archetypes, and the white-black archetype is about balancing those two, balancing the modern new technology with the history of Kamigawa and the religion and everything. It's very cool. Very cool lore. That's all I wanted to say here while I'm scooping up some random nonsense. As we get later in the pack, where you're going to get mostly filler anyway. I could play a Shrine Steward. There are several powerful shrines you can tutor up with this. There are also some good auras, particularly Twisted Embrace, which is a 4-mana aura. It's a common in black that allows you to destroy target creature or planeswalker when you play it. So that's a great card to search for off of Shrine Steward, if we can find some of those. Alright, I wasn't really trying to play blue, and I still got a really late Moon Circuit Hacker, so I should still have this Invoke the Winds in the back of my head here. Maybe take Silver Fur Master here because we are seeing solid blue pretty late, and there's nothing very good in white or black out of this pack. We could take Patchwork Automaton just for more artifacts to go for artifacts and enchantments in the deck with Naomi. But I think I'll take Silver Fur Master so that we have a backup blue-black ninjas plan, because we got this Moon Circuit Hacker with only like, what, 4 or 5 cards left in the pack. This is a pretty premium common for blue-black ninjas decks. The Okiba Reckoner Raid is also great in ninja decks because you get a cheap menace creature. That's great to return to your hand, which is what ninjutsu's all about. Getting in with little unblockable creatures and then returning them to your hand to get ninjutsu cards going, so I'll take Silver for Master, and now we might have to consider a pivot to blue-black ninjas if that looks more open here. Alright, real easy pick here. The Long Reach of Night is a fantastic 3-for-1 saga. It's going to force your opponent to sacrifice 2 creatures or discard 2 cards. It's their choice. And then you get a creature of your own, a big menace card. So huge value off this card over time. Absolutely busted if you can ninjutsu it back to your hand, and it's not that hard to do so because it does have menace, making it a little more difficult to block than usual. So easy Long Reach of Night. It also fits into black-white or black-blue greatly. So we'll take Long Reach. I also like Virus Beetle a lot in blue-black ninjas and black-white. Blue-black ninjas, you return it back to your hand when you ninjutsu, and black-white, it's an artifact creature to get an artifact on board. So that's great in both those archetypes. Okay, there's a Modern Age in here, which I think I'll take. Might be better to still be flexible towards playing white and take a Mukatai Ambusher here, because this is another card that fits into either deck. Nice little ninja for the blue-black ninjas deck, and a nice artifact creature for the black-white artifacts and enchantments deck. But I think the Modern Age is just a really, really good card that is worth taking over the Mukotai Ambusher here and moving towards blue-black ninjas. 2 mana to draw 2, discard 2, and get a 2/3 flyer is just so much value off one card, and we've just got another Modern Age now. Scoop that up as well. Now we have Assassin's Ink for a great instant speed removal spell. Dockside Chef is quite a great value play as well, but I don't have a lot of great removal. I guess I have Invoke the Winds if I can get a bunch of blue sources, but I'm not a huge fan of Tamiyo's completion, and it's really bad with the Long Reach of Night because they could just sack whatever we put completion on. So I'd ideally just cut the Tamiyo's completion, so I think I want to get my first great instant speed removal spell. 3rd Modern Age or another Virus Beetle? I'm going to take blue cards over black cards here to push back towards that Invoke. Draft is not panning out perfectly here, but I think it was fine to be open to that white. But wow, is blue open for pack 2. And I think I was definitely happy to move back towards blue when we considered that Moon Circuit Hacker went so late. Because, yeah, the blue is really, really open from this direction. Little dry now, but we can still take a Mukotai Ambusher, and it's not like there's anything in white to take. So it's not like we'd be in a better position, that pack being in black-white. Technically, only 3 cards deep into white, so we still have 15 playables here after being pretty open. Network Disruptor is really good for a ninjutsu deck because it's a cheap flyer, so a cheap creature that's hard to block, and when it hits the board you tap a permanent, so it's a great card to recast as well because you can just keep playing these and tapping down your opponent's best blockers to stop them from blocking your ninjutsu threats. So it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy where you play it, it's already hard to block, you bounce it back to your hand, then since you bounced it back to your hand, you can replay it again next turn to make it really hard for them to block next turn. It's just super good. Take the ninja here for blue-black ninjas. And we've got 17 out of 23 playables. I'm liking the look of this deck. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of right now is Invoke the Winds. Quadruple blue is still very difficult, and we are pretty even on blue and black cards, it looks like. Yeah, exactly even. We have 8 blue cards and 8 black. So ideally, if blue keeps being very open from the other direction now, that would be incredible. If we can scoop up primarily blue cards out of pack 3, we could have a really nice looking blue-black deck here. Okay, nothing much for black, white, or blue. Take an Iron Apprentice as filler until we hit 23 non-land cards. And then I'm not going to play any of these. Won't be playing any of these either. It's getting to the point where pretty much everything in the packs is unplayable in every color. Wow, that's a really late Jukai Preserver, though. That's actually playable in green, but we're definitely not in green. Moment of truth, time to see what we're going to open up in pack 3. All right, a 3rd Naomi. So if I pick one pack 1 Naomi and just stuck to white-black, we would have been a triple Naomi deck, which is insane. But also, if I just hard stuck to Invoke the Winds, would be a great blue deck with the Reality Chip here, which is going to be our pick. This is kind of a slow card. You have to play it for 2 mana and then reconfigure it for 3 before it's going to do anything. But once you do that, you get to start playing lands and casting spells from the top of your library. So this can end up being like a draw 1 to 3 cards per turn, which is absolutely insane. Like, if you play this and reconfigure it, and then the next turn you have like a land on top of your library, play your land for turn off the top. If it's a spell on top after that land, then you get to cast that spell, and if there's another spell under that, you just keep going. Reality Chip's a very, very absurd card. Alright, Goshintai of Hidden Cruelty is cool, but Moon Circuit Hacker is going to be much better in a ninjutsu deck, so I'm going to take the Moon Circuit Hacker. Clawing Torment would be a great card to wheel if we're lucky. This is a great way to make it really hard for your opponent to block yet again and help get those ninjas in. Another Silver Fur Master is spectacular. That'll fit the theme perfectly. and help our deck be nice, synergistic, and aggressive. Suit Up is a great combat trick for this archetype. We could scoop that up because they're already going to want to block most of our creatures to stop us from ninjutsuing, and now if they do, Suit Up is going to win almost every combat we cast it in and draw us a card. So Suit Up is a great combat trick. We don't have any 3-mana creatures, so we might take Searchlight Companion over the Suit Up. Those are the 2 cards I really want to take, and this is a great card to ninjutsu as well, since you can recast it, get that enter the battlefield effect. Real close between Companion and Suit Up. I'm going to take Companion here. Get some stuff going on at 3 mana. I'm going to take Virus Beetle over Suit Up. I really, really, really enjoy ninjutsuing this back to my hand. So sorry, Suit Ups. If we're lucky, we can get some of those to come back and we'll be real happy. Another Moon Circuit Hacker, spectacular. Great draft pod in general. There's another Spirited Companion still for white-black if we were still doing that. Just some really, really good options throughout the draft. Another Searchlight Companion's pretty solid here. Probably not going to play. I'm at 25 playables now. I can start cutting some stuff out. Iron Apprentice doesn't really do anything in this deck. And then it's mainly Shrine Steward. I don't really want to play because my only aura is Tamiyo's Completion, and I don't have any shrines. Somebody took the first Naomi out of pack 1 and then didn't take this one out of pack 3. That's kind of crazy. I'll just take Ninja's Kunai. We're definitely not black-white anymore. Take a Clawing Torment now. We did get that back. That's great. Can we get some Suit Ups? No, it does not look like it. That'll be a bit of a bummer. Okay, let's drop Shrine Steward. I guess I did just draft another aura for it. I might have to drop Invoke the Winds because quadruple blue, if we're running an even split of blue and black mana, that means we're not going to be casting this until on average we have 8 lands on board, and that's not really where we want to be in an aggressive blue-black ninjas deck. We don't ever really want to get that late in the game where we have 8 lands on board. So I actually think Invoke just doesn't pan out. Tamiyo's Completion is pretty awkward with Long Reach of Night, but I guess so is Clawing Torment. We could just deal with that. Probably have to just deal with that being the case. Run 24 cards here, 16 lands. Seems like a pretty reasonable place to be. I don't think anything in our sideboard looks better than what we've got right now. Yeah, I think we've just got our deck all built. Ooh, except that we do get a Suit Up. Okay, I'll play a Suit Up over Tamiyo's Completion. I don't want to spend a ton on a Tamiyo's Completion and then have Long Reach ruin that. But Clawing Torment, it's much less of an investment, just 1 mana to mess up their card. Like if we Clawing Torment something and it gets sacked to a Long Reach, it's not as bad for us as if we Tamiyo's Completion something. We've invested so much more into a completion. Alright, so there's the deck. We just got to put 16 lands into here and roll on into the gameplay. Alright, here's a look at today's deck list. It's going to be a blue-black ninjas deck. Really nice aggressive curve. We have a mountain of 2-mana things to do. A lot of ninjutsu cards with some great enter the battlefield effects. If we're lucky, we can be ninjutsuing back cards like Virus Beetle to get our opponent to discard another card, cards like Searchlight Companions to get more spirits down, or cards like Kami of Terrible Secrets to draw additional cards. We might even ninjutsu back an Animus of Night's Reach to recast a Long Reach of Night for a huge 3-for-1 effect again. Lots of really good ninjutsu combos where late in the game we can be picking up those good enter the battlefield effects and recasting them, and early in the game we can be picking up cheap evasive creatures just to beat our opponent down quickly. We have 2 Silver for Masters to buff all of our ninjas and rogues and make our ninjutsu effects cheaper. That's going to definitely add to the damage we're doing. Bunch of cheap evasive threats with 3 Modern Ages turning into 2/3 flyers, which is great. Lots of ways to chip in for a lot of early game damage, and a few ways to clear a path to get those late points of damage in. We've got Assassin's Ink, Double Ninja's Kunai, and Clawing Torment as ways to just completely stop blockers. 3 of those can just destroy a blocker, and 1 makes it so it can't block and makes our opponent lose life. So lots of great ways to push damage in. Looks like a really good blue-black ninjas aggro deck. Super excited to see how it does as we head into the gameplay. Here we are for game 1, and unfortunately this hand is not super keepable. We can cast an Inkrise Infiltrator and then sit and wait for an island, and if it takes a while, we are not going to be doing anything. So I'm going to mulligan this, try to find both colors. This has even less castable spells. Might have to mulligan to 5 for game 1, which is a pretty massive bummer, but it is what it is. There we go. 5-card hand does have both of our colors. It's also got a solid curve and some good value to try to make up for the Molta 5, primarily with Virus Beetle, Moon Circuit Hacker together. That should help us a lot. So let's make sure we have the mana to do both of those. And then, yeah, just roll things out here. So here's our turn 1 Okiba Reckoner Raid. Virus Beetle is going to make our opponent discard a card to try to even out the card advantage, and then Moon Circuit Hacker, even better, is going to let us draw a card. So if they don't manage to get a creature down on turn 2, that'll be really good for us, because then we can Moon Circuit Hacker the Virus Beetle back to our hand and make them discard another card. And that might be the case here. Let's see. Let's hope so. This could be fantastic. Oh, this is going to be spectacular. Virus Beetle, Moon Circuit Hacker combo. And boom. Now we don't really feel like we've mulliganed at all, because we've drawn an extra card and made our opponent discard 2 off this Virus Beetle. And that is the power of ninjutsu plus solid enter the battlefield effects like Virus Beetle. Incredible start to this game. Guardians of Oboro is going to stop our attacks unless I Assassin's Ink it. But I can just hit for 2 instead of 5 here, which I think is fine. Just clear it out later and spend all my mana on a Searchlight Companion for now. Because if I hit one more land, I can play Ink and Modern Age. Clear out a blocker, get my draw discard going. There's a Thirst for Knowledge. That's going to be no more creatures on their board, just the Guardians of Oboro. So the Assassin's Ink is still going to clear their whole board, and there's the land to go Modern Age plus Assassin's Ink. Guess I'll Modern Age first. Highly likely I'm just discarding whatever I'm drawing off of this. Yep. Keeping the Assassin's Ink so I can clear the path, send in with everybody a couple turns in a row, try to find a kill off that. They are down to 7. And Moon Circuit Hacker, after the ninjutsu, it just lets you draw a card, then discard a card. So if I did that now, I'd just be milling one for fun. Would not actually be going up a card in card advantage at all. So that's why we declined there. There's a Colossal Sky Turtle being used to return an Arm Guard familiar from their graveyard to their hand to play that this turn. Got a Mukotai Ambusher to pick up one of our unblocked creatures and hit them harder, and that is going to guarantee lethal here. We just Ambusher back the Virus Beetle, and that is going to be exactly 7. And that's going to end that game nice and quick. Really good recovery from the Molta 5, just showing off how much just solid card advantage is really in this format to get back for mulligans like that. And we were still real aggressive there, so great stuff overall. We are going to start off 1-0 as we head into game 2. Here we are for game 2 with a great opening hand. We get to play a Virus Beetle on turn 2 and then attack in with the options of ninjutsuing if they don't block or suiting up if they do. So this could be a very good start depending on what they have early game themselves. We have drawn into a Ninja's Kunai. We can get that mana investment out of the way, drop it on the board immediately. Playing against green-white. Green-white in this format tends to be very focused on playing a ton of enchantments. There are cards that make their enchantments cheaper, cards that put +1/+1 counters onto something every time they play an enchantment. Lots of great enchantment synergies. And Golden Tailed Disciple is going to start things off. We are quite likely going to end up just suiting up to kill that. I could just use the kunai to kill it, I guess, but I like suiting up, drawing a card here. They are going to Banishing Slash our Virus Beetle, so they've ended up using a removal spell on our 1/1. I will absolutely take that. Alright, I wish I had another black source here so I could play Infiltrator plus Silver for Master, but since I don't, I guess I'm going to hard cast a Moon Circuit Hacker, which means that one's not going to be just drawing us a card. A little bit of a bummer, but I will play a Silver for Master alongside it. Beef up my board a bit. There's a Jukai Naturalist. Could blow that up with my Ninja's Kunai. Can either just play a Kami of Terrible Secrets and draw a card here, or I can Ninja's Kunai the Naturalist away and then like Ninjutsu and a Hacker. Bounce my hackers around. It's pretty cute, but I think I'm just going to go for the Kami here. That's fine. I should have done it pre-combat. Because I was going to say, I don't think they'll want to just trade Naturalist into Hacker, but if they have a combat trick here, or the Wanderer's Intervention removal spell, then it would have played better to Kami pre-combat. Okay, so we'll draw a card, discard a card. Let's get rid of Searchlight Companion, probably, with 4 mana up. Because I can play Infiltrator plus Modern Age instead. I can't really fit a 3-drop in super well. Okay, drop the Kami. Gain a life, draw a card. Okay. So I should have just played Kami and then attacked with the Hacker and offered the 1-for-1 trade. But it worked out just fine. Worked out the same way it would have regardless. So we have drawn a reality chip. I could play it and reconfigure it, but then I don't have the mana up to play into anything that I draw off of it regardless. I'm just gonna get into combat here, I think. It's actually pretty reasonable to blow up a Naturalist and then attack with Kami, and they shouldn't have blocks really at the ready unless they can save a Naturalist from this. Okay, they can return it to their hand, but it's still off the board, which is the important part. Now I can attack with both of these, let them trade into Hacker, but Kami gets in and I Ninjutsu it back to my hand so I can replay it and draw another card off of it, since I'll have a reality chip on board as my artifact to have an artifact and enchantment again. That'll be super nasty. And our opponent didn't even take the block, so we get to deal 6 here. Draw a card. And then draw a card, discard a card, discard. Alright, I do want more swamps, but I also want to just play the reality chip this turn, so I'm guaranteed to have the artifact down for the Kamis. So I guess 4 islands, 1 swamp it is. Maybe I should have ran Invoke. Because we've got the quadruple blue for Invoke, I guess. I don't have the double black for Assassin's Ink because of the way that I played, but I could reconfigure this reality chip onto something, it doesn't matter what, and then I can play cards from the top. Which lets me play the land for the Assassin's Ink. Which I think I just do. Let's blow up the Tanuki. Just take all the Hacker Man's damage. Yeah, let's dig through our deck here. Pick up another Silver for Master. There's a Kunai for removal. I'll take that. Land on top. I'll get rid of one of these Kami. Since I can more easily fit like a 2-drop and a 6-drop into one turn than 2 4-drops. Or sorry, a 2-drop and a 4-drop into one turn than 2 4-drops. Roaring Earth. They get counters every time they play a land. They get a +1/+1 counter on something. Okay, cool. Land off the top. Modern Age off the top. And they're over it. Reality Chip value is just going insane. And we've already just beaten down for a ton of damage. We've got removal on the board to clear out a Naturalist. Just a huge lead on that game in general. So 2-0 as we head into Game 3. Here we are for Game 3 with another incredible hand. Network Disruptor is going to be rolling out with some ninjutsu cards to slam down on the board, although I'd probably rather just hardcast Silver Fur Masters because they'll buff the Disruptor and then we'll have both on board. So probably just play Disruptor, then play Silver Fur Master. Poke our opponent for 2 damage in the sky on turn 2. Get a Modern Age for draw and discard going later, get a Reality Chip to get real ahead in card advantage. Now, Moon Circuit Hacker is a card I would love to ninjutsu, since that will draw me a card when I ninjutsu it, but it'll only draw and discard otherwise. One thing that's important to mention in this format, if you have instant speed removal to blow up creatures, if you want to blow up an attacking creature, make sure to blow it up before blockers are declared, because you can't ninjutsu a card unless it's after blockers have been declared and your opponent has said nothing's going to block it. But if you try to blow up a creature after your opponent attacks you and you say you're not going to block it, then if they have a ninjutsu card in hand, they can ninjutsu and none of their creatures die from your removal spell. So just something important to keep in mind I thought I would mention here while we're thinking about some ninjutsu plays in our blue-black ninjas deck. So if our opponent has like a Voltage Surge for 2 damage to something at instant speed, then they got to make sure not to use it when we could ninjutsu something. Alright, the colors of lands we have here are kind of awkward. I could try to Modern Age into an island. Worst case scenario, I'm still spending 2 mana worth of cards, which is all I can do here regardless. I think that's fine. So if we hit the island, it's great. If we don't hit the island, we're still playing, still spending just as much mana as we possibly could here. And this gives us 2 turns of draw a card, discard a card to find the island, which is pretty important to find here. Ooh, wow. Long Reach of Night is super bad for us. I kind of want to keep an artifact on board and try to call me a Terrible Secrets next turn. So then I have an artifact and enchantment. So I discard Moon Circuit Hacker or Silver Fur Master? No way I discard Reality Chip. I guess Moon Circuit Hacker? No, I'm going to discard Silver Fur Master. We're going to go all in on card advantage here, trying to make up for lost cards to the Long Reach of Night. Wow, alright, no land in the top 2 off that. So no Call Me a Terrible Secrets this turn. That is devastating to our plans here. I'm just going to Moon Circuit Hacker now and draw another card. Desperately looking for another island still. Or really, any land would have been great here for Kami. So I discard the Ambusher. I mean, Ambusher outraces them, though. Discard the Kunai. And go for the outrace here. Might just sack the Disruptor this time. I think I shall. I'll have another flying attacker soon enough off of the Modern Age. Alright, they got their Call Me of Terrible Secrets down, which is quite bad for us. We can't attack into that well. At least I get to play mine now. I did hit land 4. Now they can't attack in either. Once we get land 5, we just start trying to Reality Chip take over the game with that. Kunai for our Vector Glider. Or our Ambusher. Vector Glider it is, so we've got no flyers on the board. Nobody's really attacking yet. There's an Assassin's Ink for the Animus. Gotta hold up double black for that. Looking to hit a land, discard a Moon Circuit Hacker, since we can't ninjutsu it anyway. Yep, and the land means we can play and equip Reality Chip next turn. And then if I have a land on top with Reality Chip, I can immediately play that next turn. I think I'll just double block Animus. It's not big enough to actually kill both my creatures. And we just take 5, go to 13. I think that's fine. Just hold the ink here. It only kills one of these on board. If they have a ninjutsu card in hand, Assassin's Inking one of these two is going to be really bad because they ninjutsu it back. I am taking 9 damage now, I guess. But that I think is worth blowing up the Animus and just keeping our creatures. I'm not going to blow up one of those though, because then ninjutsu would be really bad for us. Okay. Go Reality Chip here. Inkrise Infiltrator on top. I guess reconfiguring doesn't do a ton for me outside of making sure they can't blow up Reality Chip with a removal spell. Maybe I should Modern Age. Yeah, I'm not going to play around the removal spell this turn. They probably would have used it to help clear a path last turn anyway. Let's gain 3. Fingers crossed they can't blow up the Reality Chip, but even if they can, I'm going to draw into a Kami of Terrible Secrets next turn. Have multiple 2/3 flyers down. Okay, menacing in for 5 is big. Down to 7. Simian Sling. Okay, that's not super bad for me, but they can make the Kami even bigger. So I could move the Reality Chip over and then play this land off the top, but then I have 3 mana, I need 4 for the Kami, so I'm just going to play the Kami. Draw the land and play it. Gotta pass now that they have good blockers for Ambusher. I mean, they don't have great blockers for Ambusher. I still feel like Ambusher's better on attacks than blocks. I don't know, they trade Song Shaper into it. But on blocks, like if they put Sling on Song Shaper, I block with a 3/4. If they attack with Song Shaper by itself, I block with 2/3. I guess I just trade on attacks here. Make sure they have less attackers to pressure me with. I still gain my life. Alright, Goshintai of Ancient Wars really doesn't matter. That'll be a 3/3 first striker if they reconfigure onto it. And no attacks here because our triple blocks are real good against that Kami. Okay, get another Vector Glider. Now I can afford to Reality Chip and start popping off. Let's put it on a Kami. Play a Ninja's Kunai. Play a land. Another land, so I can't play anything else off the top. So we'll play a Virus Beetle, make them discard one of their 2 cards. And slap a Kunai onto it. And I could play aggressively here and hit them, but I'd rather play defensively, because if we don't die in the next couple turns, I don't think we can really lose. I'm just going to really make sure I don't. And then once the reality chip hits like multiple creatures, I'll just start hitting for 4 a turn, kill them in 3 swings. Okay, so Chainflail Centipede is only out for 1 turn because of Kami of Industry. So any block here is just a trump. The Chainflail is going to die anyway. But I should consider a chump. I probably should chump with Virus Beetle since they're going to hit me for 1 every turn off Goshintai of Ancient Wars and probably about 1 every turn off of Simian Sling. If I triple block, does the sling hit me for 3 or 1? I guess I'll find out here. But I triple block, they can only kill 1 of these creatures. Let's see. See how much I take off sling. Okay, it's only 1. That's good. They are just going to kill one of my flyers. Get their menace token. Don't know if I'm going to blow up Goshintai of Ancient Wars or the Menace card with my Ninja's Kunai. Suit Up's on top. I've got 13 cards left. A little bit low on cards. Kind of want to just play that defensively then. Let's slap a Kunai on and go Kunai plus Suit Up. Reconfigure onto the Kami of Industry. That's a 4/7, which we can again triple block. They only kill 1 of my cards. And I Suit Up whichever one they try to kill. And then they kill none of my cards. Take 1, they're trying to kill the Kami with the Kunai, I believe is what this ordering means. Yep. I need to put a stop in their main. How do I get it to stop? Okay, well that works. If they try to reconfigure, then I respond by killing the Goshintai, so I stop taking 1 every turn. And they are going to scoop them up. Alright. Tons of card advantage off of the Jellyfish again. Is going to make sure that we can find that win in the end, and we are now 3-0 as we head into game number 4. Wow, I just cannot stop drawing the reality chip, I guess. So Disruptor into Modern Age into Kami of Terrible Secrets is already a great start, and we're going to focus on that until we've got the mana to really make the most out of the reality chip. I'm going to tap my own Network Disruptor and let them haste me. If they're on red. Aw, they're not on red. We're going to take no haste damage. Moon Circuit Hacker is going to start things off. I would like to be able to block that. We only see blue mana right now. Might be able to just run out the reality chip and hope for the best, but I've got a lot of lands in hand. I can get some good value off draw and discard from the Modern Age anyway. And again, it plays safer against removal, getting them to spend it on our Network Disruptor to get damage in instead of spending it on reality chip, stopping us from really taking over the game. Alright, they are blue-black, so blue-black ninjas here. We're going to have to snap block to make sure they don't ninjutsu. We might get got by a Suit Up, but that's fine. They're just killing our 1-drop creature. Mind Link Mech. That is an incredible bomb rare. Very different from the reality chip. Very different from the reality chip, but very similar in power level. This is a 4/3 flyer that crews for only 1, and it gains all the abilities of whatever crewed it. So they crew it with a Moon Circuit Hacker, and then this is a 4/3 flyer that lets them draw a card and discard a card when it hits me, which is really good. Okay, so we did draw a 1-drop, so I can play Okiba Reckoner Raid and Reality Chip. Which is nice. think I'm just going to not attack again. Because if I do, they're just going to eat my Disruptor with the Mind Link mech. So Disruptor's not really doing anything on blocks now that I have Reality Chip for the hacker, but it's a pretty bad attack if we just go for it. Alright, we take 4, they draw a card, discard a card. It's almost like the ring has tempted them to level 2 of a ring bearer. They're going to be drawing a card and discarding a card every turn. Mizumi Blade Blesser, so that's got Menace and Death Touch because they've got an enchantment and an artifact. Nice. Okay. We are definitely too early in the game to just dump 3 mana into moving a Reality Chip around just to play a land off the top. We gotta play Kami, a Terrible Secrets, or the Long Reach at Night. We need something that immediately impacts the board. I like having Vector Glider plus Disruptor to double block the Mind Link mech. It's probably the hope. Except they don't have removal for that. I think I'm going to go Long Reach of Night here. I don't think a single Kami of Terrible Secrets is going to be a particularly good blocker on the ground against a 3/2 Menace Death Touch. So Long Reach of Night to trade 1 for 1 into a couple cards out of their hand or a couple creatures on board would be really good. Alright, now if they attack with the Mind Link mech and we double block with Vector Glider and Disruptor and they have a suit up now, that would be very devastating. But I think we still have to go for it. Because that mech's going to be a really big issue throughout this game. And if they don't have any combat tricks with the mech, they might like do a removal spell pre-combat. If they've got instant speed removal, that'd be quite bad for me too. Let's see. Gotta hope for the best here. We do find a trade into the Mind Link mech, so we get that out of the way, which also gets rid of the Death Touch on the Blade Blesser. Since they don't have an artifact, well, never mind. They have an artifact again, but now we're under significantly less pressure. We also have another blocker on the ground off Okiba Reckoner Raid. We do get to clear out the 1/1 Spirit with the Long Reach of Night. If I move the Reality Chip to the Nezumi Road Captain, I can play the Kunai off the top, and then if there's a land under it, I can play that as well. But I can also just play Kami and Kunai this turn, so I'm going to do that. There was a land underneath Kunai. So we'll just be drawing a land next turn. So we're taking 4 damage a turn because we can't block the Blade Blesser or the Companion profitably. I just can't block the Companion at all. But our Kunai can blow up the Blade Blesser, which stops that. If they draw into more artifacts, that Replication Specialist can be a very, very big deal. Can copy any additional non-token artifacts that they play. But they only have 1 card left in their hand, so we just hope that's not an artifact. Okay, let's reconfigure onto the creature that's the least likely to die. It's probably actually the Animus of Night's Reach that's the least likely to die, because the Kami has power, so we're actually going to maybe try to block the Death Toucher with it at some point. Then I can either spend my mana to Kunai the Blade Blesser away, or play a Silver for Master. 12 life here. I take 7 if I don't block and kill the Blade Blesser. I think I need to just Kunai the Blade Blesser. So a Modern Age. Not an artifact for Replication Specialist, but it's another flyer. Which means I have to somewhat consider just keeping my Blade, or my Kunai, to fling at the 2/3 flyer they're going to get from the Modern Age eventually. but I think I'm under the immediate threat of needing to just throw it at the Blade Blesser. Okay, so I'm going to throw it at the Blade Blesser. Here's what I was talking about. We need to make sure to use it now before I declare blocks. If I try to use it after I declare blocks and they have a ninjutsu card in hand, they get to ninjutsu back the Blade Blesser and save it. So we're going to kunai the Blade Blesser now, take 4 on a 2-turn clock from here. But we've got life gain in our deck, we've got flyers in our deck, and we can dig for them. There's a suit up, which I guess isn't really going to be used defensively, so I may as well use it. Draw through my deck here. Pick up a Moon Circuit Hacker. There's another Moon Circuit Hacker on top, which I can't ninjutsu off the top. I think I do play that. Get it out of the way. Okay, I can't play that land. But I can draw it off of this Moon Circuit Hacker. I guess we could try to race here. This is a lot of damage. Maybe even just play the Silver for Master instead of a Moon Circuit Hacker. Don't pick up anything if I'm trying to race. Then I want to keep these on board to beat down. I guess I could, if I pick up a Nezumi Road Captain, I gain life again, which is pretty big. But it feels right to pick up the Long Reach of Night if I'm picking something up, but I don't have the mana to replay it this turn. Maybe pick up Animus off of Silver for Master next turn's big. Yeah, pick up Nezumi Road Captain. And recast it to drain them for a life, so it takes them 3 swings to kill me again instead of just 2. And I draw a card, get that land out of the way. Another land on top is our next card. Yeah, they're at 7. Maybe we do outrace them here, just barely, because it takes 3 swings to kill us in the sky. They're digging for ways to kill us too, though, with the Modern Age, drawing and discarding them cards. Jam in for 4 in the sky, we are down to 5. Acquisition Octopus is another blocker. It's 2 more blockers because of Replication Specialist. But there's Searchlight Companion for a flying blocker off the top of our deck. Fantastic draw. Let's see what's underneath. Another Kami of Terrible Secrets, which gains us another life, draws us another card. Animus attacks as a 2/4 menace here. I think we send in with everyone. I kind of want to send in with everyone holding up the Silver for Master Ninjutsu, because then they might let the hackers in, and then if a Master gets Ninjutsu, puts them up to 3 power, that could be big. Yeah, we jam. I guess if they kill Animus, though, that ends up being really bad, because then we don't get to play Kami. Snap. I think I needed to play Silver for Master here, because then they're forced to block some Moon Circuits. I put them to 1, ninjutsuing a hacker back. And then I get to play it as a blocker to not die. That's so close. Yeah, this is their best block. Very good block for them. Oh, I guess I was going to draw a card, discard a card, so I would have drawn into Kami regardless. Snap. Well, now that I think of it, maybe it was better not to ninjutsu out the master, so I could play a Kami instead, because the life gain. I forgot about they were both just going to draw and discard a card anyway. So maybe I was supposed to still just play Kami of Terrible Secrets. Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of my thought process initially, even going for the attack, was that, well, if the reality chipped creature dies, then I still have 2 instances of draw a card, discard a card, so I can still play the Kami off the top. But then I completely blanked on it once they actually went to kill the creature that was equipped with the reality chip. So that's awkward. Don't think I played that out right. Double network disruptor off of replication specialist. Wow, that's nasty. Doesn't quite kill us though. On board, they need another network disruptor or some kind of removal to kill us. Inkai's Infiltrator. Oh wow, so we really die next turn. But they die if anything hits them. So they have to pass. And then Kunai off the top? What a ridiculous draw. Kunai it up. And there's the concession from our opponent. Really lucky ending to that game. We definitely could have played that tighter. Maybe gotten an extra point of damage in earlier so that last turn's attack could have been lethal. Or even last turn if I had just not ninjutsu'd out the master, just went for the draw 2, discard 2, play a Kami. I think that would have played out better for us generally. So definitely a little bit of looser lines there, but again, reality chip being absolutely absurd does find us the victory. We are 4-0 heading into game number 5. Here we are for game 5. We don't have a 1-drop, but we have excellent cards every turn after turn 1. Like this hand a lot. I think we gotta play the Modern Age later so we can actually get ninjutsu things popping off. Kumano faces Kakazan, aggressive red deck from our opponent. I mean, what other kind of red decks are there? Let's drop the Silver Fur Master first. Upriser Renegade from our opponent as a 2/4 thanks to Kumano faces Kakazan. Does not get +2/+0 for it being modified, which is good for us. At least it's not a 2-mana 4/4. That would be pretty nasty here. So that's a big roadblock for us. So we don't get to go for any ninjutsu shenanigans, so I guess we gotta just play the Modern Age. Draw a card, discard, another Modern Age. I'll keep that, get rid of a Moon Circuit Hacker here since we're gonna have a hard time getting in with those. Keeping the Ambusher so I can get an artifact on board before I play the Kami of Terrible Secrets, ideally. Send in the Upriser Renegade. We'll take the 2 damage, go to 17. Drawn to an Assassin's Ink. And a Long Reach of Night. That's a great 4-drop. Am I getting rid of another Moon Circuit Hacker? Because again, I'm just never getting ninjutsu in. At this rate? I guess so. We've got card advantage off Long Reach of Nights, and card selection off the Modern Age. Am I holding up an Assassin's Ink or just playing another Modern Age? Just keep digging through our whole deck here, play another Modern Age. There's land 4, we definitely need that. I have to just discard the Kami, because without an artifact it's not so good, but also Ambusher is really bad at blocking these things, so I guess I'll discard Ambusher and hope to draw a different artifact for the Kami sometime soon. But we're definitely playing the Long Reach of Night before we play the Kami, because we have no artifacts to play for it right now. We're getting aggroed pretty hard. Now they've experimental synthesizered into the removal spell for the Silver Fur Master, so we take 4 here and have no creatures on board. We do flip a Modern Age, have a 2/3 flyer at least. Oh, they didn't attack with Etching. Interesting. Well, that helps us a lot. I don't know why they didn't attack with etching, but I'm happy they didn't. That's a difficult discard choice. Probably Silver for Master. Because I do really want this artifact to go with the Kami, so if I hit land 5, I can play Disruptor plus Kami. Gain a life, draw a card. Alright. Well, I thought we were going to get hit really hard last turn. Luckily, they just hit for the 2. And now we're going to start getting pretty far ahead in card advantage. We make them discard 2. We're going to draw an extra card off Kami. Really start trying to stabilize here. There's a Banishing Slash for our blocker, plus they have an enchantment and an artifact, so it spits out a creature as well, which is pretty nasty. Now the Synthesizer draws them a card and spits out another creature. Maybe not quite stabilizing here, let's be honest. But everything's 2/2s, so a 3/4 blocker is going to be big, this 2/3 blocker is big, a 0/4 blocker is going to be huge. We can still definitely stabilize this out. I think I'm still in a position where I'd rather be us than our opponent. I would rather be at 11 with these cards than at 20 with those. Gift of Wrath's a good one. Really good one, because it buffs up the Upriser Renegade as well, since it's another modified creature. But we've got pretty good blocks because of our higher toughness than power. We can put a 3/4 and a 1/1 onto one of these. Which I think I'd rather do. This is when it dies, they get a 2/2 with Menace. I think I'd rather do that here, because that makes Renegade a 2/4 again, which we can actually just block. Even if it does spit out their 2/2 Menace, we're going to have to kill it at some point regardless. Might as well kill one of the creatures and mitigate the other. Now I gotta hold up the mana for Assassin's Ink, so I play a Reality Chip and hold up the double black. Just so that next turn I can move the Reality Chip over. And actually play stuff. Yeah, we gotta be on blocks here, because if we can block everything and survive, Reality Chip will win the game. So let's just make sure we survive. We're definitely surviving at this rate. Land on the top. Move the Reality Chip over. I guess that gives us one less blocker, but I think it's still worth it. Oh. Unless we have like 5 lands in a row, then it would not be worth it. We have 3 lands in a row. I drew this one, I Reality Chipped another, and there's another underneath that, so that's pretty bad. Guess I gotta just ink that since I don't have any good blocks. Don't like not having the Assassin's Ink left over. But it looks like they're pretty much out of stuff. And there we go. There's some non-lands. Yeah, there we go. Now Reality Chip really just gets there. We hit a non-land clump and it makes up for the land clump. And now I can start jamming in with 1/1 flyers and still having a ton of blockers. Slam down a Kunai. Slam a Clawing Torment on the Vigilant card, I guess, since that'll be there as a blocker the most. Equip a Kunai, so I have that if I need it, and hit in the sky for 2. There's a Gonjo Exemplar. Send in with Renegade as a 3/5. We block with Animus. 12 cards left. I do need to not mill out, but I don't think I will. Modern Age makes that slightly sketchy, but I'm still doing it. Down to 7 cards now? Okay. I'm going to stop playing cards off the top, even though there is an Okiba Reckoner raid there. They're at 17. I can dump all my mana into Inkrise Infiltrator. Seven cards. think I do draw this off Kami and cast it. Another Ninja's Kunai coming. That's another 3 damage to their face. So we throw the Kunais at the face to speed up the clock so we don't mill out. 6 cards left, just keep kunaiing the face. There's a Rabbit Battery. Put it on the Renegade. If they put it on a different creature, the Renegade would get +2/+0 instead of +1/+1, which is, I think, would be better for them currently. Well, I guess they've got the Exemplars. That still makes it big enough to force a chump at this point. Put them down to 8, and then we just kunai again and they're dead, I believe. Actually, even without kunai, we can just buff Infiltrator a bunch. Plus Okiba Reckoner Raid drains them for 1. And then Clawing Torment hits them for 1. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have kunai. Alright, there we go. Another victory off the reality chip. We have been drawing it a whole ton. But to be fair, we've got a ton of draw discard, straight up draw between the Modern Age. We have like 3 the Modern Age and like 2 Moon Circuit Hackers, 2 Kami Terrible Secrets. Like, we're seeing a lot of our deck even without the reality chip, so we will probably see the reality chip in almost all of our games just by seeing like half our deck in every game anyway. So we are 5-0 now, straight up in the money out of this draft. Feels pretty great, but we'll see if we can't keep it going as we head into round number 6. And here we are for round 6 with the reality chip in the opening hand again, which is always weird. I actually think I would rather just draw it later in the game than have it in the opener, because it always feels a little awkward just running it out early. And this hand's like a little awkward, not being able to ninjutsu the Moon Circuit Hacker, but still great cards to run out here, so I am going to run them out. Spirited Companion, excellent card at blocking Moon Circuit Hackers, so much for that here. I could Modern Age to try to guarantee the land for Kami, but Kami isn't even good unless I have an artifact on board anyway. So I'm going to put an artifact on the board this turn. So if I hit a land, I go Kami. If I don't, then I'll Modern Age probably. Uh-oh, really good green-white deck. Spirited Companion and Generous Visitor are their first 2 plays. If they were lucky, doing them in the other order would have been better, but I'm assuming they just top-decked the Visitor now. Alright, no land for the Kami, so we Modern Age it up. Or I could Ambusher the Companion back, but I want to get some land. There's the land. Discard the Ambusher and cast the reality chip. I have 2 artifacts on board. If either of these dies, I still have 1 for Kami. There's another Kami on top. Let's go. Cast 2 Kami of Secrets this game. And there's an Assassin's Ink coming up. I need another black source for that. I'm actually going to get rid of the Modern Age with 2 Kami of Terrible Secrets in this hand. And a reality chip on board if they can't deal with any of these. Repel the Vial to exile the Modern Age, but Moon Circuit Hackers and enchantments, so we still draw the card. But we won't be getting a 2/3 flyer now, which is still definitely a big deal. There's a Sunblade Samurai, which lets them put a +1/+1 counter on something with Generous Visitor. Generous Visitor puts a counter on itself. Got a Clawing Torment on top. Card is better the earlier I use it, but I don't have double black for Assassin's Ink. I kind of want to just fully kill a Generous Visitor, so we play Okiba Reckoner Raid, and it's 3 mana to play, equip, and use the kunai. I'm going to spend all 3 of that. Before they have an opportunity to play more enchantments. They attack with Sunblade Samurai. We can double block with our 3/4 and our 2/1 since our Moon Circuit Hacker is never going to be hitting them anyway. It's a solid double block. They only kill one of our 2 creatures with Sunblade Samurai. And now we have Assassin's Ink for the Tanuki as soon as we find another black source. So our 3/4 trades up into the 4/4 most likely. Yep. Draw a card, find the next black source, but I need to reconfigure to get it, which I will do because a 6/5 trample is a big threat. Load up. Send in the 1/1 flyer. Not sending in this spirit because I don't want to have to reconfigure the chip again. I think I should have just put this on the flyer. That was not a good reconfigure on my part. I guess the flyer's already kind of a threat to them, kind of a target for removal. So putting the chip on it lets them strike down 2 eggs in one basket. I don't know. Runaway Trash Bot. Not particularly big right now, and it's really not big enough to do anything if I put a Clawing Torment on it. I'll draw my Kami of Terrible Secrets card first and see if we see a better 2-mana or less card. We do. Modern Age is definitely better than Clawing Torment this turn. Discard this island. Poke for 1, they're down to 14. Generous Visitor is back. Do they have the land to play the Greater Tanuki as well? They do not yet, but Grafted Growth is going to give them the mana ramp they need to play Tanuki next turn. I gotta start pressuring their life total because they're getting some beef down quickly. Oh, here's Clawing Torment on Bamboo Grove Archer. That is the Magical Christmas Land dream. When you can put a Clawing Torment onto a defender, you completely nullify the card and do a bunch of extra damage to them. So I am so happy to do that. I could Kunai the Generous Visitor, but it might be better to save Kunai to shoot their face at this point. I mean, probably not. Ooh, Virus Beetle, one of their 2 cards in hand? Let's go, that's a thing. I guess I've tapped out of my Kunai mana, so I guess we are keeping Kunai to shoot the face regardless of if it's the right thing to do. Yeah, it's 3 mana to play, equip, and shoot with Kunai. So we just cast Silver for Master then. Poke for 1, and Clawing Torment hits them for 1. 13 cards in our deck. There's the Greater Tanuki. We're at 24 life, and if they attack with any of these things, then we can start attacking with our ground troops. 12 cards left, 11 cards left, 10 cards left. Suit Up makes us 8 cards left, but it hits them very hard in the sky, which I think is worth it. I'm going to do it pre-combat in case I hit something good. Long Reach Knight is great. Another Flyer's great, but I think I don't have the mana for Long Reach Knight. Alright, I'll play the Flyer, go down to 7 cards in library. That's cool with me. Poke them down to 8, taking a damage every turn from Clawing Torment, plus we have a Ninja's Kunai on board. Plus, we have a Vector Glider on board and an Inkrise Infiltrator on board for multiple flyers, one of which I can dump a bunch of mana into giving a bunch of extra power to. There's Imperial Oath for a ton of creatures on the ground, but that is not going to stop our flying damage for lethal. They have 1 mana to find a way to survive, and I don't believe they can. Alright, I'm not playing the land off the top anymore. I'm going to send in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage worth of flyers, make it 7, and they are going to scoop them up. We are 6-0 off of 1 equipment jellyfish showing up in like every single game and letting us draw through our entire library, which is so rude. Because, like, if we didn't have the equipment jellyfish that game, they had so many, like, beefy creatures, it would be hard to be finding the positions to have enough blockers to keep chipping away with the flyers, but we got to cast, like, our whole deck against them to keep up, and yeah, it's been absolutely ridiculous. This has been a dumb draft. It's kind of just reality chip the deck. We are 6-0 now as we head into the final battle with 2 extra rounds in the chamber. Alright, here we are for the final game of Magic with an excellent opening hand. Our opponent is on the play, and I suppose it's not the final game if we lose, so if they like turn 1 Kumano faces Kakazan, probably not the final game of Magic. Alright, another very aggressive red deck. You never want to see that. That is a strong enough turn 1 play that it is destroying in a standard. Mono red so far. We'll see what they have coming on turn 2. If they miss a creature, that'd be good for us. Alright, that's really bad. Full value Kumano faces Kakazan. They shoot us for 1 and make their 2-mana 2/2 a 2-mana 3/3, which is wild. And I think I need to try to get a 2/3 body to actually block a 2/2 profitably. Otherwise, I just take 5 here anyway, because I'm just going to chump with Virus Beetles. So I just need to play the Modern Age and try to set up to where I can actually block something without losing a creature eventually. See what they have on turn 3. I might just hold up Assassin's Ink on turn 3. Because then if they have that like +2/+2, oh my god. They have like that +2/+2 Menace aura. We can kill that before it actually attaches to something. Pretty big. And then turn 4 I can play Virus Beetle plus Reality Chip. Or Modern Age plus Virus Beetle or anything like that. I think that seems reasonable to me. Just hold up the Assassin's Ink here. See if they go for the +2/+2 Menace aura. Just full-on mono red aggro it up. Eater of Virtue. Okay. Please put that on your biggest creature. Put it on Etching of Kumano. Not their biggest creature. I kind of want to kill Sokenzen Smelter before they go to combat, because they could sacrifice this Eater of Virtue for a 3/1 haste, and that's going to be absolutely deadly. So I think I kill the Smelter and take 7 before they go to combat. Bronze Plate War is a big deal too if they make it to 5 mana though. I guess Eater of Virtue is already dealing an extra 2 damage to me every turn, and it's just 3 damage instead of 2. It's only 1 more damage to kill Smelter. And maybe we are killing the Boar then. Because the Boar reconfigure would be a really big deal. Like, by the time we actually, like, assemble blockers, then they just make one of their creatures way too big. Okay, we kill the Boar before Eater of Virtue triggers, so that they can't get trample onto their other creatures. So they hit us for 7, or they hit us for 8 if they sack the Eater of Virtue. I actually think it might be better for us if they had sacrificed the Eater of Virtue, because a 3/1 we can deal with that with a Virus Beetle. But +2/+0 going to any of their creatures, that's spooky. Please don't have the mana to play another creature. They don't have the mana to play another creature. So here's our 2/3 to block Etching of Kumano. Make a 0/4 to block the Smelter. A Virus Beetle to get rid of one of their cards in hand. I think that's the line. Let's get stable. Virus Beetle's a big deal here with only 2 cards in their hand. Get rid of a Blade Blesser. So they're red-black. They are stuck off of a secondary color. Oh, stuck off of a secondary color, but certainly not stuck off of their bomb. Rare that it is impossible for us to kill and impossible for us to survive. That's going to just end us here. We basically played against mono red aggro, like the standard build in draft. They don't play Smelter, they don't play Eater Virtue, but Etching on 1 and Raiju on 4, pretty disgusting. Alright, we can't possibly survive a Thundering Raiju at this point. Plus, any of the creatures they play have haste from Eater? No, because it actually exiles the front half, so that's kind of cute, but Raiju hits us for 1 when it attacks, it puts a counter on Smelter. So Smelter hits for 4, Raiju hits for 1, even if I block it, so we're dead. Probably. I guess I can actually play Searchlight Companion, so I can block both. This curve is just unstoppable, though. Wow. Alright, you got it. They can just sack the Eater Virtue, get a 3-1 haste now, and we're dead. Or we chump and go to 2, and then we're still dead no matter what we draw, if they don't play it right there. Well, that was just an absurd mono red curve there. Not much you can do about that. That is going to put us down to 6-1. Not going to be an undefeated run. But we'll see if we can still get that final victory as we head into round number 8. Here we are for round 8. We're on the play this time. No blue source is pretty bad. I think we got a mulligan. This is much more reasonable mana-wise. Get rid of Clawing Torments. Just set up a Modern Age early. Look for another artifact. I think seems fine. Played out kind of slow here rather than aggressively with Clawing Torment. Playing against green-white. Inkrise Infiltrator is the draw. Okay, I'm going to do that so I can play Hacker plus Modern Age next turn. Kappa Tech Wrecker. That card is a completely filthy and absurd and ridiculous magic card. If I ninjutsu Hacker down on Infiltrator and draw a card, they can just hit me and exile my Hacker. If I play Modern Age, they can just hit me and exile my Modern Age. If I try to block this, they just Death Touch my Infiltrator. Straight up just need to draw another black source or this thing is going to rip my soul apart. It only exiles one of my cards, but it's a really big deal as a really good 2-for-1 if it manages to do that. So I believe I just play a land and pass right now. Actually, I probably should have hit them for 1. Oh, good grief. Eater Virtue on the Kappa Tech Wrecker? Alright, I definitely should have poked them for 1. No, but this is horrific. There's a Network Disruptor, so we could have an artifact and enchantment on the board for the Kami. Still gotta hit that black source to kill this Kappa Tech Wrecker. Alright, I'm gonna bite the bullet here, draw the card. Probably should have just bit the bullet early and let them exile this Hacker, since it draws me a card anyway. Don't think I let them kill the Modern Age, though. Yeah, I don't think I played this out right. I think I should have just done this a turn earlier, and we just let them kill the Hacker. Then this turn could have been spent on Searchlight Companion, I guess. Not that that's super good here, but we'd have a 1-1. Chump the Kappa Tech Wrecker. Alright, our lack of lands is becoming a very big problem. This Goshintai gets to start clearing out our board of anything with 1 toughness or less. I guess because it's toughness-based instead of power-based, it can't kill the Infiltrator at least. But it can certainly kill the only creatures we can cast right now. Alright, I got a Modern Age. They can't exile it anymore, and I need to find mana. It's not a black source, so it's not actually that valuable to me. But I suppose I can play another Modern Age off of it. Find another island. Incredible. Lovely draws. We love to see it. There's Kami of Terrible Secrets with an artifact and enchantment on board for our opponent. Draw 2, discard 2. Keep a Reckoner Raid. Gonna hacker back the Infiltrator, play a Reckoner Raid. I'm just under so much pressure here. Discard Disruptor against Goshintai. Another Moonstruck. Okay, I don't think I need 2 of them. I'm pretty sure we're just dead here. Maybe we had a shot if I curved things out a turn earlier, but these draws have been really awkward. How is that even possible? Island number 5 it is before we see swamp number 2 on an even split. Pretty big bummer. Guess I can only cast 1 spell then, because I can't draw swamps. Reckoner Raid. Take 8, go to 2. But then we have 2 2/3s to block with, which is a start. Okay, there's a Fade into Antiquity on one of them. And we still don't find a swamp, so that is going to be game. Here we are for the final game of Magic, win or lose. Some really rough luck in the last couple games. Definitely played a little suboptimally last round, but we couldn't have turned things around because we could not find swamps for the life of us. And our first loss, we just got absolutely mono red aggro, just beefed out of it. Let's discard land number 4 here. Kami of Terrible Secrets, pretty sweet. We can go Searchlight Companion into the Kami if I just keep lands. So we drop Moon Circuit Hacker and drop the Searchlight Companion for the play for this turn. And that means we have an artifact and enchantment on board for the Kami if we hit land 4. There's a Blade Blizzard Kitsune, not a super big deal. I can block with the Kami pretty happily, and I'm going to set that up. Gain a life, draw a card, draw into a Ninja's Kunai, which could kill the Kitsune without losing a creature, but I'm perfectly happy to trade Kami into a double striker. They don't combat trick us. If they do, we still have Assassin's Ink to kill it if it gets too big. I suppose having the Kami to ninjutsu back with a Moon Circuit Hacker would be nice, but we already have 2 other cards that are great to ninjutsu back to our hand. That's not a big deal if Kami leaves the building. The Fall of Lord Konda exiles our Kami of Terrible Secrets. Okay. I suppose my Vector Glider could have traded into Kitsune either, but I suppose my Vector Glider could have traded into Kitsune as well, but I like a 2/3 flyer a little better than just a 3/4 on the ground. Anyways, just play a couple more Modern Ages. Get ready for those flyers. Sure. Yeah, let's go for it. Don't need that land. Don't need that land. Let's really go for the race here and just chump block with our 1/1 token for a turn. Just start jamming in with flyers. Era of Enlightenment. Scry 2, then gain 2. They're not going to have another creature for a couple turns. I could even just take the 4. I mean, I'll go to 17. That's a perfectly healthy life total. And then by keeping the spirit, we can kunai away the Kitsune instead of Assassin's Ink. Gives us a creature that can hold on to the kunai without lowering the amount of damage we're dealing, because if I put a kunai onto a flyer, then I'm not attacking with that flyer anymore. So I think that's actually reasonable. We'll go to 17 here and save the spirit to throw a kunai at somebody. Intercessor's Arrest on Vector Glider, that's fine. Draw a couple cards, discard a couple. Drop a land. Drop a land. Long Reach of Night looks real good. I'll just go for that instead of the kunai. I'll take 4 on the crackback here since I'm not going to chump. Could have also picked up Companion with the Hacker and replayed it. That would have been fine too. Just got a lot of really great options here with all these sagas popping off. Ancestral Katana. Put that on the Kitsune, and now it's a real big double striker. So we take 8. Okay, now I definitely need to be able to kill that, so we'll kunai that. Most likely. So that I still have the ink for something else that might be bigger than 3 toughness. Kill the Kitsune, draw a card, and hit them for 2. Ooh, drawn to an Okiba Reckoner Raid. Great card. Get a land, so could play Companion plus Silver for a Master if I want to buff the Moon Circuit Hacker, but I think I'm just jamming it in the sky anyway, so I'm probably still on Okiba Reckoner Raid plus Companion. Just send in for 4 in the sky. They're down to 11. Let's start draining some life with Okiba Reckoner Raid. And getting some more flyers with Searchlight Companion. Play another land and pass the turn. Okay, Seismic Wave's actually incredible here. Are you serious? Jesus Christ. Alright. Well, that was fantastic for our opponent. I think we are still in the lead by a little bit, but definitely not astronomically in the lead anymore. There's a Spirited Companion to draw them another card. The Banishing Slash for Animus, which also gives them a creature. Incredible cards these past couple turns for them. Now they hit us for 4. They could discard their hand, draw new 3. Reality Chip is the draw. I can play Reality Chip and Silver for Master, or one of the two and hold up Assassin's Ink. I think I play the 0-4 and hold up Assassin's Ink. Put them to 6. If I can attack 2 more times, I can kill them. But I gotta be able to attack 2 more times. We're gonna have to Assassin's Ink whatever they put the Ancestral Katana onto. Block something else with Reality Chip and take 3. They're not gonna put the Katana on anything? So they're gonna play something big post-combat? Just 5 damage. Might be trying to hit us for lethal. Do they have Blade Blizzard for ninjutsu or something here? Or are they going to shoot us for 2 with a spell? Oh. Well, no shot. We win then. Lose to Imperial Oath, I guess, to wrap things up. I got no way to hit for 6, do I? Yeah, there's no possible way. Well, that's pretty disappointing. I have no way to get both of these onto the board attacking, because I can't ninjutsu off the top with Reality Chip. And I also don't have enough mana. So I can hit for 4. I have 5 blockers against 6 attackers, which they just equip the companion with something and we die. Can't survive, and can't kill them. Alright. Imperial Oath will do that to you. 6 and 3. Really rough to go 6-0 into 6-3, but it certainly happens. Still up in value here, which is great. I think the deck was pretty phenomenal. But we just ran into some nonsense the last few games. Not too much to say about it. That is gonna end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the videos. If you'd like to see some more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link or the join button in the description below. And if you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.